China is going to rule the world. China is going to dominate the world's economy. China will have total control and power over other economies. China will overtake the United States economy in near 2030. But still, is China better than the United States of America? Hello entrepreneurs, I am Dhaval Kawatra, back again with another USA vs China episode. In our last episode, I had revealed some harsh truths and had given some data on how China is dominating the ancient economy, how China has used its debt trap strategy to take over many islands and underdeveloped countries in Asia, and how China is declaring a war against the United States. Be it the trade war, the technology war, the Cold War, and even the currency war. If you haven't yet done with that episode, then please refer to it first, because this is a part 2 of it. If you just watch this episode, you won't understand certain things which I'll talk here, and you'll just get half of the knowledge and half of the truth that I am going to give you today. And you know, half knowledge is dangerous, and with half truth, with half facts, you can take the right decision of who's better, the USA or China. And if you are done with the last episode, then let's not waste much time and dive into this quickly. USA is the world's largest economy and is the number one for a reason. Do you know what reason is it? You don't know it? It's revolution. America focuses more on bringing a revolution, talk about social media, business culture, business process, lifestyle, strategic thinking, fashion, technology, space sectors, and many other, which if I give them will make this episode very long. So America has always given much more importance in bringing a revolution. And if you see today, most of the countries use Western culture, Western lifestyle, Western business models, and lot more things from the West. US brings a new culture in the world, and people love it so much that they have to adopt to it, or else due to FOMO, they'll just remain backwards. Today, everyone wants to use social media because most of the people are using it. People want to adopt Western cultures, though they have great cultures in their own country. People want to go to US and just do business or live there or do anything that resembles to the US. Why? Because United States of America focuses on bringing a revolution, which in turn makes everyone to adopt to that thing and implement it. But on the other hand, there's a rival who's watching all this from a distance in the East. The rival focuses on stealing the things, stealing the tech they build, and they give it to the world and then send it all over the world with their master manufacturing process. You know who's that rival, right? You guessed it. It's China. China focuses on globalization. Today, the only reason why China is the second largest economy in the world is globalization. China has so strict policies and regulations by which they don't let any other country's business enter in their market and dominate their market. And even if they enter it somehow, within few weeks, it starts its own brand for selling the same product that the outsider was selling. That too in cheaper prices with a great quality. China is very fast in globalization. After its open door policy, China has grown a lot, and the way Chinese government has trained and controlled the public is also very fascinating. China has the largest population in the world, and the only country to compete them is India. But India can't do things as fast as China does. And not just Chinese speed, their ability, their expertise, and their dedication is shown in their work. With almost zero defects and high quality, China then uses the same thing that America has revolutionized and globalizes it. Here, if you see, the US is the trendsetter, and then China is the one who's the real beneficiary. After US starts getting momentum, till that time, China has already planned on how to get their first sales and how they'll grow. Just like how Huawei, with the help of Chinese government, was able to take on the United States. If you want to know more about why US banned Huawei, then watch the part 1 of this video. China used its open door policy to see what the world has, and then they stole it. They stole the idea, the tricks, the process, the business model, and how to apply certain aspects in business, which eventually brought China at the level of US. Like if you want to manufacture or sell your product in Chinese market, first of all, you won't get an entry to sell in that market. And second, Even if you get an entry somehow, Chinese will learn all the ins and outs of your company or your business, and within few days or few weeks, they'll get into that industry and globalize it to be the market leader. China has adopted the Western culture, no doubt, but not to implement it in their daily life. No, it has adopted it just to sell it worldwide with its global vision. Today, whatever China is because of the technology and the process that came from the American companies which either sold or manufactured their products in China. Let me just give you a list of what all American companies have been duplicated in China, just so that you know whatever I'm telling is truth. China has its own YouTube, which is Youku and Baidu's IQE, and then there are many more alternatives to it like Sohu, Lay TV, Tencent Videos, PPTV, and more. China has its own Google, which is Bing, the worst as in the West. It's China's largest search engine. China has its own Facebook, which is Tencent QQ and Baidu's Taiba. WeChat, which is also an alternative of WhatsApp Messenger. China has also copied Lifan 320, which looks some like Mini Cooper, Landwind X7, which is the same like the Range Rover, CH Auto Lithia, which is a copy of Audi R8, and many other which you can simply search on Google. So if China, as I mentioned in my last episode of US versus China, takes over the United States of America's economy, China still can be better than the US. Because if you look at this closely, the most important player here is America, because China hasn't yet brought any revolution except the manufacturing power it has. America, even though it can be the number one economy if China overtakes it, but still is the important country for bringing changes which sometimes have a great impact, sometimes make things much worse. But if you think with a business perspective, with an entrepreneur's perspective, you will see how America makes the bridge for a lot of peoples and builds the gap, but then China ruins the image by entering into it. China even gives a lot of importance in investments it has in the business and startups all around the world. Today, China has invested in many major companies like Smithfield Foods, Ingram Micro, General Electric, AMC Theatre, Legendary Entertainment, Motorola, T-Rex, and many other companies. So, with all these, no matter how much these companies work, a part of their money is going to China. And I have also explained how China is using all its money to gain control over the world, which if you haven't yet listened to it, then do it first. So here, what do you think? Who's better? Who's powerful? Some people would say, hey, America is the one who invents and then brings on a change in the world. Some would say, no, it's China because of whom all of this is coming to our daily lives. Well, there's no perfect answer to this. And as I have mentioned in my last episode, this is just a debateful topic. America is still the number one economy, no doubt, but when it is overtaken by China, US will not only lose its number one position, but will also lose its number two position to India, and that I have also explained in the part 1. China has evolved a lot in these past decades, and that it has used all of its money, power and labor in making a better marketplace for the world, but still wants to regulate them from entering. Has also created a manufacturing process and a manufacturing system due to which most of the companies have their manufacturing plants in China. China, no matter how hard it wants to control the whole world, especially its own people and economy, with its warfare tactics and smartness on investment, real estate, and policy framing, it will definitely beat the United States and take control over all the other small economies, leaving US way behind. Even if you hate China, it's going to dominate the world, no matter what steps it needs to take. Coronavirus, trade war, arms war, or economic war, anything that you can imagine. But it's still on you, who you think is better. If you have any questions or opinion on this, or you think if I have missed anything in my part 1 or part 2 episode, then please let me know on our Instagram handle or on our YouTube channel, or simply just click the Anchor voice message link in the description and send us a personal voice message on what you think is about to happen and how can US tackle this. If your point is legit, we'll add it in our next USA vs China episode. Thanks for listening us till here. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcast and also subscribe us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify and YouTube. If you want us to post any content of your choice, just DM us on our Instagram or send us a voice message on our Anchor profile. Until then, keep listening, keep hustling from Behind the Brains podcast. I'll see you later.